keep using chopsticks? It's like there are fucking spoons.
Hey, fuck you, bro. Chopsticks are beyond.
I love using chopsticks. Don't get me wrong.
Chopsticks are like hands, but they're not hands.
They're not hands.
They're better than forks.
No,
right?
They're not better than forks.
Forks just stab.
They're more
things.
eloquent than forks.
Anyway, what is up, internet? It's your boy Brando and Christopher House. And welcome to the Otaku Remix podcast, where we talk anything and everything anime. Today we are talking about the spring. It has sprung, and it's beautiful, and it's sunny, and flowers are blooming, and pollen is pelting us in the face, and it's windy today, and
birds are chirping in a slightly audible fashion.
and we just don't want to experience any of that. We just want to stay inside.
I just want to stay inside and watch anime.
Yep. And so we're gonna stay inside, and that's what we've done, and we've kind of chronicled a little bit of the beginning. Well, a fair amount, I should say, of the spring.
First 2 weeks.
Yeah, the first 2 weeks of this spring season of anime. So we're going to give you guys our impressions, some of, let's say, our tastes for what we believe is going to be hot, what's not, that sort of thing. So I hope you guys enjoy. So just jumping right into it. Let's just start with one of the big fish. Perhaps the biggest fish.
The carp.
The carp. That he's won the Punch Man.
Oh shit! Okay.
Season 2.
Okay. So yeah, this is the carp that's struggling to go up the stream.
Yeah. This is the one that's not going to become Gyarados.
It's it's a Gyarados that like de-evolved.
Yeah,
it's trying to become Gyarados.
It's the Gyarados that's the Magikarp that made it up and is like, I'm going back. No more. It's hard being Gyarados. You can't keep this up.
Okay.
I got a new trainer and it's rough.
They keep throwing me in battle.
Yeah, so One Punch Man Season 2. We've only basically judging it off the pilot. I'm pretty sure episode 2 is out, but
episode 2 came out. Obviously, we weren't itching to watch it.
Yeah, but off of episode 1, there was obviously a lot of hype, a lot of speculation going into Season 2 of the hit anime.
Before the trailer came out.
Before the trailer came out and before the first episode premiered.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, we watched this in the house with everybody essentially.
It
almost was kind of like an event.
Mm-hmm.
We decided to sit down and watch One Punch as soon as we heard that the season or the episode had dropped. And what was your first impression kind of seeing it? Because there was all that kind of stigma around the new animation studio, maybe it looking a little bit more rigid, maybe they're not as experienced. Obviously, it's hard to compare to a name like Madhouse, but what was your first impression?
Honestly, I think I came into it not expecting much because, yes, the new studio was announced a while back, like almost a year ago. And I know they were more known for their romance animes, apparently.
Yeah. Nothing
I forget the name.
kinetic, yeah.
Yeah. And so I was kind of going into it being like, ha. And I also had heard that the manga, after the point at which season 1 ended, was not as like bombastic or funny or energetic. And so I was like, fine, like I'm just gonna watch it just to watch it. And I mean, honestly, it was fine. I enjoyed it. I'll watch the next episode and I'll probably like continue watching it. But I don't foresee my friends memeing this season as much as last season.
Yeah, that's really the barometer for success at this point.
Is how memeable is your anime. Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree, and I empathize with that sort of viewpoint because One Punch Man had such a really fun opening arc. And I remember, so before One Punch Man came out, I'd read the manga. So I knew it was coming. So like when I heard it was announced in general that Madhouse was attached to it and everything, and I was like, this looks amazing, and then the intro music was fucking godlike. And it's still one of my favorite anime openings of all time. But I knew it was going to be hard to sustain it because we had this conversation kind of in miniature in our last podcast about, in contrast to Mob Psycho 100 from the same mangaka, Nameless Man Called One. But whereas I feel like Mob Psycho rather has a good structure to kind of evolve the character of Mob, have a more cohesive plot. One Punch Man obviously revolves around the character of One Punch, around Saitama, and it's like Saitama never evolves. He never changes. No. You want him to change in the sense that like his internal struggle is basically the crux of it a little bit, where he's bored with the hero life and would like to find meaning somewhere, but he can't because that's the gag. And so you have to evolve the world around him. You have to create stakes around him, and they're kind of starting to do that with this overarching plot of like a prophecy and a calamity and everything. but it's slow. It's slow to the point where it's starting to drag its feet. It's already lost its luster, especially since there was such a long gap.
Oh yeah,
between the 2 seasons.
Yeah, that stuff doesn't affect me as much, but like I just keep hearing from people like they just don't care.
Yeah, the fan base at large is definitely
ambivalent, which is the worst thing to be.
Exactly.
It'd be better if it came out and was like terrible.
Yeah, you and I are strong believers of never being mediocre, never being kind of ambivalent, always being either.
If you're gonna be mediocre, make sure you have a good marketing team.
Yeah,
like Marvel has gotten away with that.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good comparison, and I was like 2 seconds.
But their marketing team is like fantastic.
No offense.
They got people to raise charity to make people go see their movies.
Yeah,
that's freaking awesome.
I know, fucking.
And so, like, we'll jump away from that immediately.
Yeah, because trigger warning. That's my thoughts on Captain Marvel in a nutshell. But I digress.
Like, and when we say mediocre, it's like. I think a good qualifier, because I've never really qualified this on the podcast, is that mediocre is actually like you did your job.
Oh yeah,
and you did it well, and you did it like you did a job that the average person cannot do. Mm-hmm. Good job.
Yeah.
The problem is like we're in a very eccentric world, and time is demanding now. Like we have Christ, our list today is long. This podcast is going to run a little long because of how long our list is. And so like in order to like not only gain attention in the moment but to like gain traction over time, you need to be able to be interesting either in the moment or in discussion afterwards. Discussion being of course like what we're talking about, the memes, general society as a whole. And so right now, One Punch Man is just kind of stale in that aspect, I think.
No, yeah, I feel you. And that's how you basically create your presence in the market, because anime is as competitive as it's ever been. And I appreciate that, because that competitive creates that desire and that need for anime to be concise, to hit home, for it to be focused, a product that's definitely better, I think, today than it's ever been.
It's more consistent now than it's ever been.
Or it needs to be marketed very well. Or at least find a way to penetrate beyond. So like for the worst things like Goblin Slayer and to a lesser degree Rise of the Shield Hero courting controversy, or like to a cultural punching point like JoJo, like we were mentioning memes, like that almost exists in the minds of anime fans as a meme. Like so many people don't really know what JoJo is, but the idea of JoJo. But you know of JoJo.
Everybody knows JoJo.
You understand the idea of JoJo, and that's enough for it to penetrate further. Because I don't think that I think JoJo is an exceptional anime, but I've watched things that impacted me more. I think I've read and watched things that are plotted better.
That's fair.
But still, nothing really matches the originality of JoJo or has affected as many intangibles as JoJo.
Yeah.
And so that's where One Punch Man sits in a sort of limbo, a purgatory of right now, where it's like it's fallen out of grace in terms of like its traction. Yeah. And again, this is a bit of an overreaction. It's still the first episode, but I still think it's definitely for me a sign of things to come, where I think One Punch is going to be pretty stale. The first episode, as any first episode of any season, is definitely setup heavy, even for an ongoing series where it could have definitely hit the ground running with like where it left off. It definitely seems like it's not really going anywhere huge. I mean, I appreciate the foreshadowing of the bigger problems and of Janos' continued story and Saitama's continued gag and heroism, but I don't know. I'm a little miffed. I'll wait to see where it goes. It's a solid 6 out of 10 anime right now, and hopefully for me, like
I get you. Yeah,
for season 2.
Again, the qualifier being like 6 out of 10 is like
for that pilot
passing.
For season 2. Yeah,
that is passing.
It's passing.
Again,
a little bit better than average.
We're in the States. Everybody thinks 6 out of 10 is fail.
I know, a little bit of chuckle here or there, but it's okay. So we'll get back to that as the season goes. Maybe we'll have another impression, a second impression of One Punch. Maybe we'll have a revival. Some anime fall off real hard in the back half, so
that they do.
There's always a chance to revive. So another anime from the season I wanted to mention, you haven't seen it yet, but I wanted to bring it up, is Fruits Basket.
Yes, I have not, and I didn't see the original either.
Yes,
so I have no idea what this is.
So Fruits Basket, for those who haven't watched it, is a classic shoujo manga / anime. It had a 2001 adaptation, which hasn't really aged super well, but it's very fun. Honestly, for most people that I know, that I've known as longtime anime fans, it was one of their gateway animes. It definitely was in that time frame for myself, so I definitely would say it qualifies for that. Me too. But I wasn't huge into shoujo in my youth. I've definitely grown to like it more as I've gone to watch more anime and changed as a human being. but no, I'm pretty fond of Fruits Basket. It's getting sort of the Brotherhood treatment, so to speak. It's kind of being redone to be more accurate to the manga with a much better animation quality. Which is much more true to the style that was in the manga. The animated series in 2001 was a little bit more flat, kind of like in the beginning of like the digital anime era. And this is a lot more colorful. It's a lot more soft. The palette is a lot more, watercolor-esque.
So it is very modernized.
Yes, but it looks a lot better. It's written a lot better. It's way more concise. So in a way, I'm kind of watching it again for the first time, and I am enjoying it. And I think that all the barriers for entry will definitely kind of like fading away for people who would like to reintroduce themselves to this classic. So I think that's going to be something that a lot of people will be talking about as the weeks go on, and I definitely recommend checking out Fruits Basket. Another one from the season that we just finished watching.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that we just finished watching before starting the podcast. We wanted to include it, so we're like, let's just quickly just gabble up this episode, is Carol and Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Not sure what the studio is. I think it's Bones. I'm not 100 on that. I'm going to double check which studio did it. But Carol and Tuesday from Watanabe, the director of the Cowboy Bebop series and many others. But that's basically the calling card for us to kind of watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is a story about two young girls, Carol and Tuesday, titular characters, who live on Mars and on the city of I think it's Albar City, and they're there and they're trying to just cut their teeth as musicians. So it's a very kind of weird. It's in a beautiful, almost bombastic setting, but it is a very grounded story of just two working girls trying to make it as musicians. And my impression is mixed, but you tell me yours first.
So like coming into it, Watanabe obviously has directed two series that are of my favorites in all of anime, which is Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo.
Godlike. Amazing.
And
classics.
I'm always worried I'm going to mix up Champloo's name with Showdown. Sorry.
Shampoo's available for free, by the way, online now.
Oh, really?
A whole
just
series on YouTube. Yep. Funimation
great.
released the whole thing.
God damn. Good on you, Funimation. But, so Watanabe has a talent for directing his scenes to match the music.
Oh, yeah.
Really well. So it's always it's funny how his last couple of series have been actually in terms of their story centered around music. Yeah. Where it feels a bit on the nose at times, where it's just oh, you're really into music and we're doing this thing about music. So it's if you better be interested in music if you're going into this. Now, thankfully, I am. Mm-hmm. So I have a background in acapella, which is not the highest form of music, but whatever. So I can enjoy it and I can appreciate it. And the setting is neat because it's also set on Mars, because he can't get away from Mars. And it's definitely good. I don't think it's a must watch for anybody who's I'm on the rocks about it. Yeah. Watch one episode. It's not gonna make you go, because Watanabe doesn't write with cliffhangers in mind. Not that he wrote this, but whatever. He doesn't direct with cliffhangers in mind. He directs with just episode per episode basis, and it really shows because this one just kind of ended, and it's we'll see what happens going forward. Yeah. And that's how you feel. It's I'll watch this in the future at some point, and I'll feel good, but it's not gripping my attention.
Yeah, I would say it's not it doesn't have the deepest amounts of dramatic tension. There's a lot of setup going on, as any pilot does. I really liked it.
Oh, I did too, yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit, and I thought that it was really stylish. It's animated beautifully. Mm-hmm. The movement is all fluid. They have a great variety of scenes and shots. And
the style is at its prime. I think Mezza's walked by and he's these look like Persona characters.
Yeah, he had that offhand cam.
And while I don't agree that it's in the same style of Persona, it's stylish. Yeah. Which people often go is it above basic level of style? That's Persona. And it's I'll take it. It's fine.
Yeah. I think in the Western audience, it's just an easy IP to glom onto. And
that's a Dragon Ball.
Yeah. If it's really edgy and kind of straight line, that's Dragon Ball. If it's kind of I don't want to say bubbly, but kind of curvy, I would say. Maybe then they'll kind of attach it to Persona. But in general, I really like the style, the aesthetic, the world. The two characters, they're really sweet. Mm-hmm. That scene when they're making the song together for the first time is really sweet. I think it's one of the most genuine scenes I've seen recently. There's a moment when the Carol and Tuesday are performing together for the first time, and they're kind of just cutting out a song, and it's slow and I don't know, it just feels so real in a way. Like,
For
kind of feels
anybody
like who's ever written music or
written
made
music, or even just made like something artistic where you don't like. For those who haven't done such, like it's something you never get on the first try.
Yeah.
You kind of have to feel it out and feel where you're going, and like eventually just something kind of comes along that works out and you like it and you go with it, and that's what that scene really invokes really well. And I hope going forward that we can see more of a like symbolic representation of like what music means to people, and like what the production value is, what the like conveyance of feelings and emotions and stories through music.
I'm super confident that Watanabe can do that.
I'm sure he can. That's what I hope to see.
Yeah. That's like kind of the feeling I got when I saw Run with the Wind, like the conveyance of like what running, athletics, camaraderie, team sports can reach beyond the actual physical activity. So like this should be something that's interesting. So Carol and Tuesday is something I'll definitely be watching with optimistic eyes. But moving forward, I'm going to throw out just a random. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen it or heard of it, called Isekai Quartet.
No.
It has a chibi It's like, I don't know. I think it's a Gintama skit scat. But it has the characters of Konosuba, Overlord, ReZero.
Oh wow!
And another one that I can't think of right now. But like, they're all just kind of thrown in there. And I don't know if it's like a parody. I mean, it has to be a parody, but it has them like in chibi form, kind of just doing like little skits. I assume. I have no idea, but it's something I saw a thumbnail for. I'm definitely gonna check it out. That definitely looks like something interesting, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And they're like little 5-minute skits or something like that.
I don't know. Possibly.
Well, like speaking with that in mind, I guess I checked out the 3-minute sketch episode from a series going on called Josai Kausei. That's Joshi, and the rest you can find on Crunchyroll.
Yeah. Josai for short.
Josai for short. And it's just a 3-minute sketch comedy centered around 3 high school girls. And it was pretty funny. I always like having one of those in the background, just those kinds of series in the background, because it's very easy to consume. It's like popcorn. It's just like you put it on for 3 minutes in between, like at your lunch break or something. Yeah. So hopefully that continues to go on well. I actually saw that it had like 3.5 stars on Crunchyroll, and I was like, oof.
What's it about?
It's literally just like a comedy. Like the first episode was about one of the girls like needs to bring her skirt down like a little bit because it's just too much, and her friends are like, you need to stop. And it's pretty funny.
Okay.
The basis, of course, I forgot to mention, the basis of it is that it's a silent comedy.
Ooh.
There's no dialogue.
Interesting.
So it's all like character reactions and like the actual animation and stuff like that. So it's kind of unique in that aspect, but not much outside of that.
Okay.
But hey, it was a comedy and it was funny, so
check. It succeeded. There's a lot of fun comedies in this season that I'm seeing. One that I'm noticing that I don't think you saw. I saw it on, not on Crunchy, but on a dank
website,
third-party website. Robi Hachi.
I have no idea. Go for it, though.
Okay, so this is a fun future-ish series with a main character named Robi, or Robbie, I should say, and his cohort Hachi. They're not really cohorts at first. So Robbie is a self-proclaimed
Ooh, I like these character designs.
Yeah. He's the orange-haired one. He's like a self-proclaimed reporter, like freelance reporter.
That's cool.
And then, but he sucks at his job, and he's like really down in life. He just lost his girlfriend, and he's like going into debt, and so loan sharks are chasing after him. And so the beginning of the inciting is like he gets like a bag snatcher, like takes some of his shit, and then fucking a guy helps him, the young man in the opposite that you see there named Hachi. Okay. And he's like, oh, thank you, man. And so they hang out for a little bit. He tries to repay him with a meal, and then he realizes he's fucking hate each other. Like they're polar opposite like personalities. It's like, fuck you. And so later Hachi shows up as one of the loan sharks trying to get him. And it's like, oh no. And so hijinks ensue. Fast forward, and Robi's like, I'm out of here. So this is in the future. This is like GC 51, like Galaxy Century 51. It's like in the way future.
Spaceships.
Yeah.
Personal spaceships.
Exactly. Lightspeed future. I'm pretty sure this takes place on Mars. As these things do in Japanese sci-fi. And so Robi's like, fuck all this. I'm going to Isakander, which is some planet that's constantly advertised as like a planet of happiness, which basically looks like a tourist trap. And so they're off in space, but he realizes he got Hachi in tow, and they've got like this awesome giant mech also. But yeah, it's a fun comedy, super likable characters. I looked up to see like where it was from. It's apparently an original anime, but it is directed by a guy named Shinji Takamatsu, who used to do Gintama. He did Grand Blue Dreaming.
Perfect.
Yeah, he did School Rumble, a favorite of mine. He also did Daily Lives of High School Boys. So a bunch of comedies. So I know it's going to have like those awesome comedic beats. But it also has like a super kind of sci-fi element to it. And it turns out that he also worked on Gundam in the 80s. So this dude's like in his lane when he's working on this.
A seasoned veteran.
Yeah, he's definitely doing what he likes. It's funny, it's original. The robot is funny as hell. It plays its own theme music when it comes out, like over the intercom. It's super fun. So I'm looking forward to more Robi Hachi. We should definitely check out the pilot. Well, you should check out the pilot. I'll gladly rewatch it downstairs if we can get a hold of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely a hard recommendation for me. I think that's one of the more fun original comedies coming out this season.
Sounds cool. Well,
so
next on the list.
Did you want to go or?
Sure. I'll go with something we both watched.
You're laughing, so it's not Demon Slayer.
It's not Demon Slayer.
So I was gonna do Demon Slayer, but you go ahead.
So, why the hell is there? Why the hell are you here, teacher?
Oh god, is that the 11-minute thing?
Yeah, that's all we got. We only got 11 minutes.
There's more?
Yeah.
Is that like a full 20-minute anime?
I think so.
No, I thought it was a skit anime.
No,
like a
no.
halvesies.
Let me look this up. We only got halfway through it, and it felt like 11 minutes long.
Felt like hell. Like it's a funny skit anime about like this guy who constantly gets in compromising situations with one of his teachers.
Yeah.
But
no, I'm looking. But continue. Yeah, but it's just like I know I said no. It's only 11 minutes long. Okay, fair enough.
Thank you.
We only
got through 5-6 minutes of it.
Yeah, no, we got through 8.
Okay.
Yeah, I know I said Domestic Girlfriend is like trash. Domestic Girlfriend has trashy moments.
Okay.
This is trash. Like,
so we've reached a new level.
Like, clearly
pandering to like the ultimate.
This is like beyond ecchi. This is way beyond ecchi.
Yeah. So just to describe some of the scenes that have
occurred.
Yeah.
Basically, a high school student, as Brando mentioned, keeps getting into compromising situations with one of his like young female teachers.
The first gets them in a bathroom.
Yeah, she's in the male bathroom for some reason, and he happened to walk into the stall. It's like a stall. It's not even like a room bathroom.
Yeah.
It is a stall that he walked into on her, and that they get locked in together for some fucking reason. And so it's censored. Yeah, it's censored very quote unquote comically. I'm gonna say because it's not actually funny. It's funny to talk about. It's not actually funny to watch. And it's so clear that they actually animated like what hasn't been censored. Right?
Yeah.
They're gonna sell this on Blu-ray. They are going to do this.
You were saying the whole time. It's like it's that censor. It's just post.
Yeah.
It's just
and so like. We're watching this and it's like, okay, this is just like the hook because it's the first scene and this is the hook that's just going to get everybody going, what? And lo and behold, despite not looking this up on YouTube, it was advertised to me on YouTube because I watch anime clips on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so this is the big meme show right now.
Okay.
And sorry, One Punch Man, we got to put cooches in.
Yeah.
And so that like the first skit is like, you know, her like trying to go to the bathroom and it's like disgusting and vulgar. And then the second skit right after is him walking into the nurse's office and she's there because she has a cold. It's like, okay, that's like convenient, but whatever. And it's like, oh, the only medication we have is analgesic. And it's like, so for fuck's sake.
So we're laughing, but it's like at our amazement or like or awe. Like it's
befuddlement.
It's like I'm not above sexual humor for sure. Like that's half the reason I like anime, the freedom it has. But at the same time, there's a line where you just go one too much overt.
Yeah.
And then you've crossed into a line where it's like
you're just perverted.
Yeah, you're intensely perverted and that's what you're appealing to. It's funny, but like in a sort of like really defecating way, and it's like
not defecating,
self-deprecating,
deprecating. Thank you.
Thank you. But yeah, that first scene is bananas. Like she's in the bathroom, she just wants to pee, he can't get out, and then so
no, I don't think we should describe it.
Yeah,
it's really vulgar.
It is quite.
So this is a hard avoid. This is a hard
a D recommend.
We'll bring you weekly updates.
Weekly updates from the trauma because we're
we're not. I'm not going to continue. Like being serious, I'm not going to continue watching.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't blame you.
I'm not supporting this.
I probably
Domestic Girlfriend. I started going. There's no way in hell I'm watching this.
Yeah, that was.
And we ended up watching it, which was weird.
Domestic though, it has like.
That's what I mean. Like, and that's why I started preface with like it has trashy moments. And those trashy moments kind of are its spice, really spicy. But this is just like filth. This is absolute garbage. So good job, whatever studio did that, and good job, Crunchyroll. Like Crunchyroll's like on Twitter, hard advertising the show.
Oh yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Hey, have you no shame?
There's definitely a market.
Please sponsor us.
Oh, Crunchyroll. Props for mad marketing. If you need even more marketing skills, come out to the Otaku Remix boys. We're definitely like imagine in 3 months we're plugging this show.
It's
like, yo, you gotta check out.
You go, I was wrong. I was so wrong. Or this podcast just disappears.
I came around. Anal Justice is so cool.
Like, you should go to your local Walmart.
Anyway,
and let's continue the trash pile.
Okay, keep going.
We also watched, I think, half of Amazing Stranger, which was the show about, you're gonna make a confused look. It's a show about a small female like space cadet.
Oh right.
Who has to pretend to be a doll so that nobody squishes her. And then somehow ends up... She starts off in an alien planet, and the alien there is like, this place is rough. You need to pretend to be a doll. And she's like, okay. And then like hard cut to modern day Japan, where she's in this otaku's house. And I think the only reason we watched this is because the summary said like this guy has given up on 3D women, and it's all about the 2D women. And we're like, that's funny.
Yeah.
And then we were watching it, and it's like, nope, it's just trash again, because in 2 seconds he accidentally takes her bra off.
Yeah. So.
And she's like shooting him with the guns.
The funniest thing we said about that anime, and I know we promised to wade through the trash for you guys, but we're dipping our toes in now at times, honestly, because we know when you feel acid, it's like, oh god.
Yeah.
This was like, as soon as it got to the point where he was like kind of pulling her panties off and stuff like that, or trying to before she unloaded her machine guns, and he did get her bra off. We were like, this looks like the anime that's supposed to be a fake anime.
Yeah,
like a video game.
Yeah.
The production quality is butt cheeks, but also the so plain and just so fucking base.
Like the OP like has them like looking out into the sunset together, this little tiny girl and this like regular size otaku man, and it's like that fake anime in No More Heroes.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if it's like meant to celebrate otaku, to make fun of them, to parody them, but like in general, it's cringy, man. It's cringe. Yeah, that's
it's not the good. It's not the good cringe.
Yeah, it's not like the cringe and you can't stop. It's the cringe and you want to stop. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
So we're not going.
So
back
Amazing Strangers, another hard miss.
Big no. A soft no. Which I mean, for me,
a soft no.
A soft no. Not like a. It's a. I'm not gonna say the whole. I'm gonna abbreviate a lot of these titles, but it's Sendai Utna, which has a longer for prefix, but Sendai Utna is what I'm going to call it. It's an anime about these two heavenly men, I should say, who come down from like the ethereal plane to like serve Buddha. And so they're basically look like dudes from like Dynasty Warriors, like Heavenly Kingdom guys. Like they're in immaculate costumes, and like they have the ponytails and like the hairpins and all the pageantry in their outfits, and it's like beautiful. And they slay a demon off top. So I'm like, oh, this is actiony with really pretty men, but really kind of actiony. And then after that, it's nothing. It's just slice of life. Like the Buddha guy tells them, yeah, we just chill down here in the material world. Like,
oh yeah, I saw a bit of
we
this,
just shoot the shit, and they're like, what can we do? It's like, you can go get milk, bro, if you want, or clean. And like, so they do both. And like, there's some slight slice of life hijinks where it's like they don't understand how the world works and stuff like that. But honestly, it's like going nowhere. And I know slice of life can feel like that at times, but that's it's charm for some people. I really do like slice of life, but this is one of those that I feel like I'm not going to get into. Maybe it's the pretty boys, maybe it's just the general structure of this one. But for me, it's like a soft no. I definitely think there's a market out there for it, whether it's for the pretty men, because there's a lot of pretty boys in this, like a lot.
You got JoJo for that.
Yeah, so. Yeah. No, these are prettier than JoJo boys.
Fuck you.
These are non-muscular, lithe.
Okay.
Pale.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we're in part 5 right now. That's when we get lithe.
K-pop hair, like. If you're into that sort of thing, and maybe you could find something that's worthwhile about it in the coming weeks, come back to me and try and bring me back, hook me back in with some reason why I should go back to Sendai Udna. But for now, I'm gonna stay away. And if you're not into that sort of thing, stay away as well. But moving on. I didn't see this, but did you see The Wise Man's Grandchild?
No, I did not.
Okay, it is the new isekai on the block that's supposed to be like a hip kid. I don't know much about it, but the standard, oh my god, he got hit by a truck and now he's in another universe.
I'm rolling my eyes.
Exactly.
Already.
It's so like, plain Jane and
we have Shield Hero, which I'm probably going to go back to eventually.
Shield Hero is continuing with Slime, I think.
Konosuba's going to return eventually, and so the movie's coming out.
I think Sword Art's continuing with Alicization, and so there's a bazillion isekai that you can go and watch that are in the backlog now. But this is a new one coming out that I hear is of somewhat quality. I will definitely check it out just to see how it distinguishes itself amongst its peers.
I feel like we're gonna have an isekai for every like role that there is in an MMO.
Yeah, isekai is becoming like the superhero genre of anime, but like in a bad way.
Doing it? No, but it's not doing the numbers.
It is doing the numbers. Yeah,
Fuck me.
What are you talking about? Like, right?
I don't know, man. I'm just hoping I say things and they become true. Like, it's like, man, I really...
Bring back baby steps. Like, season 3, please. Speaking of which, so there's a bunch of baseball anime this season, one of which is called Mix Meisai Story.
And this is when I put my phone down.
So Mix Meisai Story, in a nutshell, so it looks very 80s. Mm-hmm. It's by an accredited mangaka called, I don't know his full name, it's Adachi for short. But it's a sequel series to his original series, which was a hit manga/anime series called Touch, and it follows the same middle school, where like not a prestigious but a successful baseball team was, and the main character is trying to like bring it back to those heights. And it's kind of it's slow, it's soft, it's kind of just a nice interpersonal story with some light comedy and some nice romance for like illusions. And apparently Touch had really good romance. Apparently this guy is really good and romance and weaving it in with the baseball and everything else. I like the pace, because sometimes slow works for me.
Yeah,
slow works for me, and slow baseball animes that I really like. Well, not slow baseballs, but slow sports anime that I've really liked over the time. I really liked, like I said, Baby Steps, which is a tennis anime. I really liked Big Windup or Ukiku Fukirabute. Those are really good slow sport animes that kind of just work the interpersonal relations into the sporting. But sometimes slow doesn't work for me. Like Diamond of Ace is coming back this season, and I've never really finished the first season because for that was kind of like a weird slow. Like it's a shonen that's like dragging its feet.
Shonen's never good slow. Shonen always needs to keep up the pace.
Exactly. Like it doesn't have the emotional gravitas or tension to kind of like bide for that time or like fill the air. It kind of like it demands action. Like it demands a literal plot action. That's what I mean. Not like just swinging bats and breaking faces. Like it needs something else. So that's something I'm interested in. The other baseball anime I was going to mention was Cinderella 9.
Okay.
So I'm oddly liking it. I'm not sure if I was just hooked in because I'm like, I like sports, and I'm like,
women's baseball.
Yeah. So I told you it's. I like the premise from a slightly unique factoid that they mention right off the bat that there's like long ago, or a couple years ago, you wouldn't even find a girls' baseball team. Now, like in Japan, we have like 30 whole teams, and I'm like, in all of Japan. And
that's cool.
I'm like, cool. All right. So
now I'm gonna start this off actually because I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
But I'm interested because apparently in Japan right now there's like a whole, like not to get too off track, But there's this
Sexual
whole like
harassment?
sexual harassment like protests,
Yeah.
organized by a bunch of women, which is great. Like that shit shouldn't fly. And I'm one. Not that I assume the show has sexual harassment, but like, is this show women's baseball? And the like, not the catch, but like the appeal is that they're all cute women, and like it's fun watching them play baseball.
Yeah. So here's the thing. This isn't a baseball anime. This is an idol anime.
Yep.
But lying that
there
it's...
it is.
It's an idol anime pretending to be a baseball anime. Like, I know... So, again, not until recently, not until like fall of last year did I realize I had like any sort of palette for idol anime.
Yeah.
Katsu will try and get me to kind of court into that market eventually. But our friend Katsu, that is.
Yes.
But I'm giving it a shot. I don't know if it's because I've tempered my idol taste and also I like sport anime. But it's like cute girls encouraging each other to do their best. But, you know, instead of, singing and dancing, they're running around bases. So I'll see where it goes.
You'll see where your shame takes you.
Yeah, we'll see where it takes me. No shame to those who watch idols, though. You know, if you're into that shit,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
no doubt. I might be one of you, and if I do, my friend.
As long as you admit it, to be honest. Like I'm
Yeah.
teasing you right now about it, but like.
I've also asked Chris to mercy kill me if I show up at an idol concert. So.
Oh yeah, but we'll keep that on the low.
Yeah.
Because we don't want this to like when you do end up dead, we don't want them to be able to find
yes,
me.
my will exonerate you. I hope.
I don't think that's how that works.
I hope it does.
Yeah, I think you have to become mayor first, and then you can do that.
I'll become a politician so that you can kill me.
Oh, Lelouch.
Oh boy. Anyway, Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer.
Demon
Speaking of that, I don't know
Speaking.
what that's related to Lelouch at all, but yeah. So we both watched Demon Slayer. You were anticipating this show going into this season.
Slightly. I'd heard the notoriety. I hadn't watched or hadn't read anything of it. I just seen the imagery of Demon Slayer just because I loosely keep track of what's hot and what's not on Shonen Jump nowadays.
Okay.
And Demon Slayer had been rocking it for like the last 2 years. Fairly popular and solid in quality. I've heard nothing but good things. So like when an anime came out and the production quality looks great and the premise seems interesting, I was like, sure, let's rock this.
Yeah.
So you and I watched the pilot and beyond. And what did you think?
Well, I think I was slightly first. Let me backtrack, I guess. First episode, watched it. I'd only heard from you that it was supposed to be good. I didn't remember you mentioning that it was shonen. I didn't remember. It probably helped that I didn't. So I'm watching it, and I'm also coming off the heels of Sekiro. So like I'm enjoying this kind of like demon slaying samurai. Well, not samurai. Actually, in particular, what are they called?
What, Tengu?
Bushido.
Shinobi?
Sorry.
Well, like, so in Sekiro, he's Shinobi, so he's like a ninja. But like,
Yes.
this dude is like basically a samurai.
Yeah, but like, you know, just kind of like not technically samurai because it's not like honor bound fighting. It's like tactile and
It's more like a Ronin.
yeah, kind of. So anyway, so this like wild, katana wielding style of demon slaying, I'm into right now. Like,
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And so I watched the first episode of Demon Slayer, and it's rock solid.
Yeah.
The art style is fantastic. The white snow contrasting against the hard red blood in the later, like, kind of gruesome
Scenes,
moments. Works really well. It's classic. Like, plenty of people have done it before, but it's classic. And the only complaint I had about it was during one of the really well choreographed action scenes, there's a lot of narration going on in the background.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Which, like, my problem with that comes down to that the scene is really well executed on a visual standpoint. We as an audience kind of understand what each character is feeling at the moment and why they're feeling it, because like they're reacting to things.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, the character's also like telling us in plain, well, English because we're reading the subtitles, and that's just kind of
It undercuts it.
It undercuts it. That's a good phrase.
And
yeah.
I know what you mean, because like we always prefer a show don't tell, or like, yeah, more of a show don't tell.
We want things to feel a bit more sophisticated.
Yeah. And that scene that the whole snow blood kind of fight scene. One that comes to mind immediately that I kind of think contrasts well with the basically the pinnacle, like the climactic scene in the pilot for Demon Slayer. For me, that I can think of is in the final season of Samurai Jack.
No,
So-
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that's okay, and you will eventually.
Yeah.
But one amazing scene is where Jack is on the run and he's being pursued by multiple assassins, and it's in a snow-covered forest, and it's so blizzarding that they don't even bother to do anything in the background. The background is entirely white, and as like the assassins pass through, you can kind of see their images kind of pass through silhouettes of trees and whatnot, and so does Jack's, and it's an awesome scene. Jack, obviously, masterclass in less talking, more showing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so but yeah, that's a fantastic scene where you do get to see a lot of that hardcore contrast in the choreography and in the display of a scene like that, where they don't have to talk too much, where the scene portrays all the emotionality and the narrative of what's going on and what's transpiring without literally saying, oh, he hid the axe behind himself so that he could trick me, and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, it's a cool trick. It's very clever, but like the more you narrate it, the more you water it down.
Absolutely. It comes off as like almost the author bragging.
That, and it's like you almost, not disrespect, but you kind of anticipate that your audience's intelligence is a little bit lower. Like, it needs to be explained. It's like, we just saw it.
I get it.
And I understand the complexity of it, but like that's kind of a shonen downfall
It'd
sort
be
of thing.
kind of like with like whatchamacallit, in A New Hope, like Ben Kenobi, takes the hit for Luke, and then afterwards go, "Don't worry, Luke, I died so that you could go on this." It's like, we get it. We know why you did that. You don't need to explain that to us. But anyway, so that happened, and I was like, oh, I'm a little, whatever about it. Coming back to Demon Slayer, I was a little kind of here, there about it, but overall, like, really, really good pilot episode.
I really liked it.
And then I see, for the pilot episode's outro, they used what's going to be the OP for the rest of the season.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw all the cast, and I was like, oh,
you were cautious.
This is a shonen.
I was actually rather excited.
It's a good intro. Don't get me wrong. It's a good intro. But for somebody not knowing this was a shonen going in, I was caught off guard.
Now, here's what I have to say with your trepidation regarding the tropes that come with shonen.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of expressed this to you in my ideology that, like, shonen is changing. Over the last 5 years, it's changing, and I think it's going to continue to change because we keep getting more and more different styled shonen coming out of Jump, out of Shueisha.
Mm-hmm.
You have The Promised Neverland.
Mm-hmm.
You have this, which I think is still going to retain some more of that grounded, not darkness, but tension and I don't want to say goriness, but visceral kind of action.
Right.
And same thing, they have other ones coming out. Obviously, they stick to what they know. They still have like standard sport anime that come out, but even the sport anime that come out are a little bit more grounded, less about like the action of sport and more about the people who play. And then same thing with Dr. Stone, where it kind of highlights a character's intelligence more than it does like an intense action scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But I have faith that it'll still kind of maintain that sort of thriller-esque drama, because that's like the draw of the pilot. Like, the main character, whose name escapes me, the protagonist of Demon Slayer, he kind of goes around the town. It's so positive. Everything's so positive.
He's one of those like does everything handyman.
Oh yeah, he's an amoral character. He's super nice, and that how pleasant the whole world is, and like how quiet it is, breeds that foreboding where it's like, oh, he has a beautiful family who he takes care of, who all love him. He goes to a town where everybody respects him. He takes care of everybody, and then you have this one old man who tells him like, there's darkness in the world and demons, and you need to be prepared. And he's like, okay. And he's like, demons aren't real, like, things aren't bad. And then he goes home, and there's a gruesome scene where, spoilers, his family is brutally murdered. And
already brutally murdered.
Yeah, already brutally murdered. Not before him, but like it already had happened, and he's seeing the aftermath, and he finds his sister, and then everything else transpires. And it's one of those things that I hope can maintain that sort of that momentum, that first idea, because the ideas and the aesthetic is interesting.
They are, and like because he kind of jumped at what I didn't explain, is that the reason why the intro telling me that this was a shonen, like probably going to be a shonen series, is that
The big cast?
I was the big cast, and it was like I was expecting a very personal story of like a young kid learning about the world around him and rising to a new status in life because of like a situation that's thrust upon him.
Yeah.
A very straightforward, simple story with no side like tracks, no sidetracking elements. Like we're not gonna have a side where he's like we're gonna have a training element to it, but it's gonna be like training on his feet. Like it's still gonna be plot relevant or something like that.
Yeah.
Now I know we're gonna eventually hit our class, like our class of students all learning to become demon slayers, and we're gonna learn how everybody becomes a little better.
Yeah.
And it's so you were saying like shonen's changing. Shonen Jump is changing. When I say this show is a shonen, I don't mean that it's from shonen, even though it is from shonen.
Yeah.
I mean that it's going to follow the tropes of shonen.
I think that it will, and
it's not going to be bad for it. It's just going to be more mundane in my mind for it. Like I'm not going to be as like in wonder of what's going to happen.
I'm hoping that it can surprise you and I. From the intro, one of the things that jumped out at me, well, one, I'll go ahead and just kind of co-sign what you were saying. I definitely agree that the expectations that come with shonen will make it a little bit more predictable and possibly a little bit more mundane. I think that like the whole like rising to the occasion, sort of like determination and not jovial, but kind of joyous-esque nature of shonen, where it's kind of fun.
Yes.
Will kind of water down the dark undertones of the story.
Yeah. The
But
convictions.
I think the world is really interesting.
Yes.
I think the style is cool.
It is.
I think that, especially how they animate it, like all of their blades kind of like, kind of having like effects blooming after them, especially the main characters, where you had like that wonderful, like turquoise blue, like water effect coming after it.
It is very gorgeous.
That
I would
looks
have
super
liked
cool.
us to gradually get to that point
Yeah.
because we aren't there yet.
Yeah.
And it's like they're already showing us it's going to be.
That's
there.
the folly of intros, where it's like they always show too much. Like I'm not about you, but like for me, I'm not a fan of watching more than the trailer like of a film once.
Yeah.
Like I don't like to nitpick the trailer. I don't like to watch trailer analysis. I don't like to anticipate everything about a film before it comes out. I just want to experience it as the director anticipated you to experience it for the first time without any expectations. Like you can interest me. That's the whole part of marketing. I understand. Without it, I wouldn't even know the film existed, nor the show. But like an opening, I'm already here with interest. Don't ruin everything that the show is supposed to show me as it goes on. So I agree. It kind of may undercut when that moment happens when he finally shoots water that looks like a Japanese like painting out of his sword.
And it does look great. Yeah. So the visuals are great. We didn't even talk about the second episode. Which is when I started like really sighing because I was like,
I was snoring.
Yeah, well, you were tired.
I was.
It was not that boring of an episode.
Yeah.
But the it's not a problem. It's just it was a very standard like next episode of the shonen after the hero understands what his mission is and what he's trying to become. He sees a professional kind of executed a bit more after stumbling himself, and is tested by that expert to see if he is ready to become the master's disciple.
Yeah, he was like the alkaline test to see like how far he is from like where he needs to be.
And I'm going to tell you, out of all shonen that do this is like the most boring test I've ever seen.
Oh, like this...
Run down this trail of bamboo that are going to smack you in the face.
Yeah, I mean, that's
did it. And it's like, again, this is not bad. This is solid 6-7.
Yeah.
But like, God, there is so much out there. I've seen stuff like this before, and it's like,
I feel like it's leaving a lot of potential on the floor. It's
leaving a lot of potential on the floor. And here's the thing, people are comfortable. If people are comfortable with this and they just enjoy it, like, don't take my word then.
Yeah.
I'm asking things to push boundaries, and this is not.
I can respect that, and I think that it only pushes them to a degree. Like it always wants.
It pushes it in the premise. It doesn't push it. It has not pushed it anywhere further. I haven't read anything, so I don't know.
Everything pushes things just a little bit. I think that's what we talked about when we kind of did our winter wrap up. Where like
that was my frustration with Rise of the Shield.
That's what I was about to bring up. Where you were like, it skirts interesting ideas and then never executes on them. It just alludes to them to kind of create faux like ideology and like a little bit of a higher concept.
It does that. It does that to get a meatier hook. To interest somebody like me who doesn't care for isekai or shonen. But then it goes, but we don't want to actually not be isekai or shonen.
Yeah.
There's too much of a market out there. We'll lose our audience.
Exactly.
And that's the cynical side of me. I don't know how these actually go down. Maybe like the authors of these actually really enjoyed this premise and that's why they write it like this. So that it might not be as cynical as I portray it to be. But it comes off as that to me, and it just like not abandons, but it takes away my interest entirely.
Yeah, and that's a valid complaint.
That being said, I'm going to continue watching this because it's probably the best thing that came out this season so far. So
yeah, we'll definitely see. Between that and Carol on Tuesday, and like there's a lot to be interested in. A couple before we wrap up. One with a longer title, but I've abbreviated to Hitoribochi because it's the name of the main character, and there's a lot more words in it, and I can't pronounce them because I'm not Japanese. But Hitoribochi is a very cute slice of life comedy. Is about a young girl with some crippling social anxiety, and she is starting her new middle school class, and her childhood friend is like, "I'm not going to talk to you anymore unless you learn to talk, unless you make friends with everybody in your class."
Wow.
So she begrudgingly accepts and then starts her mission of like kind of just introducing herself to everybody in class, starting to make friends. And it's really cute, has a lot of like little fun slice of life comedy moments. Just the hijinks are fun, and I think it's a solidly written comedy that I think will resonate with people who had a hard time making friends in their adolescence. It definitely kind of like hits home for elements of that. I was empathizing with that. I could feel moments of my childhood kind of reliving them in a sort of way, not to the ridiculousness of this, but and the main character's name is Hitoribochi, which I believe means alone, like literally. So it's an interesting comedy that I think is a little bit more feelsy, perhaps, for some people. And I think it'll be a pretty solid pick for you guys. So check out Hitoribochi. And another one, and if not, I think possibly my last notation that I have on my notes here is one that we've both watched.
Oh, yes.
Occult Midnight Civil Servants.
Wait, it's Occult Midnight Civil Servants? I thought it was Midnight Occult Civil Servants.
Could be that. I might have written it wrong in my notes. But if it's either or, you know what we're talking about.
Yes.
On Crunchyroll.
On Crunchyroll.
With our favorite metrosexual.
Oh. Dude. It was the most like notable thing about that.
That's how he pitched it to me. He's like, he texted to me immediately. I was just like, yo, is this a guy or a girl? And I was like, guy.
So here's the thing, like normally this would be a joke I make off the podcast and like, laugh about it, and because that's not the author's intent, and they just happen to make a very effeminate male character.
They harp on it.
No, it's the first thing that happens. Like they show up and the guy goes, hey, the effeminate man or the metrosexual man goes to one of his coworkers and goes, stop using pictures of me to break up with your girlfriends.
Yeah.
You bitch.
Yeah.
It's so, like...
It's like, oh, but they always think you're so pretty.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's jarring for me because I played Persona 5. That's a 100-hour RPG, and one of the main characters looks like that person, and it's a chick. And so it's just like exactly, down to the choker collar and the hairstyle.
That's funny.
It's weird. So for me, it's just like, this is confusing.
But besides that, the premise, why don't you explain the premise?
The premise is that you have our main character who's like kind of like personality-less. He's kind of a stiff board, but what can you do? He'll probably gain more character as he learns who he actually is, because it's kind of set up that way. I'm sorry, I'm doing a horrible job. So
That's okay. I sprung it on you.
So the premise is that our main character Miyako, starts a job as a civil servant. He doesn't seem to know what department he's been transferred to.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we're city organizers," and it's like, "That's neat." And then it turns out, oh, we help organize the mystical parts of the city, and that's involving angels and the Tengu and like other monsters,
All
and
the yokai,
all the Shin Megami Tensei cast,
all the SMTs.
Yes, and so that's kind of the premise. It's basically MIB, but with like, you know,
Demons and angels.
demons and angels, and which is kind of
That's a cool way to describe it. Honestly,
it's a neat premise. The problem is that the problem that I had after watching the first episode is that the Tengu and the angels, who are the focus of the first episode, are hyper generic. Like it's designs I've seen before. Shin Megami Tensei like elevates that as a series by bringing in artists who just have wild designs for these like classical monsters.
Yeah,
and
penis carriages.
Well, that's Mara is a beloved beast. And I will not have you spitting on his name. He is high piercing. What was I even talking about? Oh, generic ass angels and Tengus.
Yeah.
So and so when you have this show, like Men in Black, the
comic book series and film,
they have like weird alien designs that kind of pique your interest, and then the comedic aspect to it, which kind of like makes it fun and interesting. This show, while an interesting concept, the monster designs were like very standard.
Oh, pretty standard.
The dialogue was like not that the drama and the tension going on was not that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The only interesting thing that occurred was that we learned that our main protagonist can actually talk to the angels in Tengu.
Yeah.
While the rest of the civil servants can't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be like a setup for later, and I assume he's actually a werewolf based on the OP. But yeah, it's just kind of very like this is like a 5 for me.
It's so it's kind of blasé.
It's very blasé.
It's another like where it's like it could be interesting, but like you're so simple in your execution that you don't really execute on the idea. Like you don't elevate the idea. Excuse me.
No, this is like I was kind of shitting on Demon Slayer before, unfairly, some might say. This I'm properly kind of shitting on for being blasé.
This is that mediocre that
this is the actual mediocre
that we don't approve of.
No. And so yeah, probably won't continue watching that, but if I hear some good stuff about it, I'll watch it.
I echo your sentiments. I was like kind of not super interested after the first episode. I was like yourself, the designs of the yokai and all the fairies, like they could have been a little bit more eccentric. Instead they're kind of like generic pixies and giant dogs, and it's like they're glowing. I guess that makes them supernatural, but
yeah,
in essence they're not incredibly interesting to look at. The main character, like you mentioned, is basically personalityless, and we'll see where it goes. Like there was a little bit of fun interplay between the characters, like they're likable enough, but not to the point where I would say this is like a hard recommend. I would say caution. If you're into this sort of thing, maybe you can draw some interest, but I'm gonna watch it for another 2 episodes, and if it can't really elevate itself within that next 40 some minutes of animation, then I'm probably just gonna say bye and start watching something else.
Yeah. And that's it for your list, correct?
Essentially, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and take a look if there's anything else on the overall anime list, but I think I'm good. Was there anything else you wanted to mention before we kind of wrap up?
There is one. I'll admit I watched this very late at night with a friend, and we were a little out of it.
Oh, this is the one you guys were laughing about?
Yeah. So the show is called in Japanese it's Kunjo no Magmel, and I think that translates to Magmel of the Sea Blue. The premise is that your main character, whose name escapes me because it's not his name is not Magmel, the country's name is Magmel. But your main character is more or less a not traveler, but he's like a gun for hire.
Okay. Wandering mercenary.
Not wandering. He has an office.
Okay. Just office
mercenary.
Just mercenary.
Office to mercenary. Mercenary for hire. Yeah, so he's like a mercenary who shows off that he has like really powerful abilities. And in your first episode, you have a kid coming to his office going, "Hey, could you help me find my brother? He went to Magmel, which is this uncivilized jungle with dangerous beasts and monsters." They show like one of the big bad monsters is like a bug that burrows in a dead person's head and makes them walk around.
Wow.
So that you fall into a trap, and other monsters
Reminds
eat
me
you.
of a monster from Made in Abyss.
It reminded me from I'll have to watch Made in Abyss then.
Jesus.
It reminded me of Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Oh wow. Oh yeah.
Yeah, where poor Andy Serkis just gets eaten alive.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, that scene is rough. I think they took that scene out in a couple edits because it's like so disgusting.
Movie's awesome though.
The movie's great. It's long as shit, but it's great.
Peter Jackson.
It's Peter Jackson. But back to Magmel. So it kind of had our intrigue in like how kind of gruesome it could be at times. But overall, we were kind of laughing all the time. And the reason why is because like the main character is so aloof. He reminds me kind of like the abridged version of Alucard from Hellsing Ultimate, where he's like, I just don't give a fuck about anything.
Yeah.
But he has a heart of gold and stuff like that. I'll probably continue watching it in delirious states because it's super fun to make fun of. But I don't think it's actually like anything of high quality.
Okay, I might go check it out.
Oh yeah, and he has a sidekick who's just Futaba from Persona 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know the series came out before Persona 5, so they probably like took inspiration from that, or maybe it's coincidence. I don't know. But she's just like the exact same design, and it's very much like, oh hey Futaba, what's up? So yeah,
there's one other we wanted to mention before I forget. The one with the Kappa. What was it called?
Oh my god, I didn't think we were going to talk about this because we had nothing to really talk about. I'll bring up the name, but like go on. I know you remember what happened.
Get the name first.
Okay. It is shit, it's not popular, so
Sarazanma.
Oh.
Or Sarazanmai? Yeah, Sarazanmai.
Yes.
So that is the very colorful, interesting, but almost bizarre to the point of, and unfocused, I should say.
Yeah, hyper unfocused.
To the point where we couldn't watch anymore.
I'm sorry, it was... What?
Nothing.
It was when... it was when our main heroes were eaten by the Kappa to be shat out by him as well.
Yeah, that's where we stopped.
Only before the Kappa sucked out an unknown organ from their sphincter. That's when we tapped out.
Okay, so that's unfair, but like it's
no, that's what happened,
and that's true. So the premise is pretty loose.
It's based off of like Japanese myth of
yeah.
Is it actually called a Kappa?
The water Kappa? Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was just with memes these days. I don't know anymore.
Yeah. Everything's our Kappa.
Yeah.
But there are three protagonists. One is always carrying basically like an Amazon box. Another one's like trying to carjack somebody, car thief, and the other one's another Amazon box holder, and well, he's doing it because he like worships like an idol in the city essentially, and she adheres to her daily fortunes. And one day he and the car thief damage a Kappa statue within the city, and lo and behold, a Kappa actually pops out of it, and we couldn't finish the pilot because of the aforementioned getting sucked an organ out of their sphincter only to be shat out by the Kappa to become Kappas. Themselves. And so it is bizarre. It is just really timed weird. It is animated beautifully, and its color palette is very vibrant. And honestly, it could be a lot more interesting than we're giving it credit for. And I will probably go back to try and give it the full credit it deserves of like a 1-2 episode watch. But the impression right now, bizarre to the point where I don't know if I can how much I can take. Like
this is the one where you go, what, Japan?
Yeah, this is so Japanese to the point where like even I, who I feel like has accumulated a sort of thick skin for the strangeness of Japan, is a little bit detached to what's going on here. Like there's definitely a lot of cultural references that I'm not getting. There's definitely a lot happening here that's just going over my head and just maybe catching me off guard. But for those who dare, traverse...
If you like weird shit...
Oh,
this is weird.
This
is weird as shit.
If you like weird shit, Sarazanmai is definitely up your alley, and I'm probably going to go back, and we'll have a follow-up conversation about it.
Honestly, maybe if I was a bit more delirious, like with Magno, I could have had a lot more fun with it.
Oh, we would have been.
But I think we were starting out that night like trying to catch up on the spring season.
Yeah.
And
You and I had
like, oh my god, is this what we have in store? Because we started with what the hell are you doing here, teacher? We moved on.
That's why we
moved on to that, I believe.
We had just
moved on to Amazing Stranger, and then we moved on to that, and it was just like, oh my god.
We had the trifecta of anal penetration.
This is our life now.
We were like,
our life is anal penetration.
We were like, we could only watch so much anime where things go out or go into butts, to the point where like it's just. We were beyond it, and it broke us. And I guess that's where we're going to end this podcast. So that's basically our thoughts of the spring anime season so far. It is rather tepid for myself overall, just to kind of headline this whole situation. Like the headline for spring anime could be things going in and coming out of butts. In a way.
Does One Punch Man count? Because it's coming out of somebody's ass.
Oh my god, probably is. But overall, I think that the season is still fairly promising. Not as kind of fun as winter was.
No, but at the same time, it has continuing shows.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to continue watching JoJo. I know you.
For you, besides that, I think the continuation of Attack on Titan is a season.
That as well. I'm super excited about that. I know everybody's kind of down about it because it had a similar break to One Punch Man. But I'm super excited about
That's
this
one
season.
where the quality's never drifted so far. So I feel like that should be pretty solid.
Yeah. So that's coming back up. Rise of Shield Hero is continuing. I might actually look into that. So maybe you'll get a better synopsis from me at the end of the season.
So we'll probably check back in with spring, like maybe at the midpoint.
Yeah.
And like kind of give our impressions at that point. Hopefully things will change. But those are our first impressions. Hope you guys had fun. If you guys had your own impressions of what's been going on, if you guys had a chance to delve into a bunch of the pilots for season spring 2019 of any of the anime coming out.
Or if you've heard of something that we didn't mention and you think we should check out.
Yeah, you definitely do that. Shout off below, hit us up in the comments, send a message, what have you. We'd appreciate it. Like the video if you guys had a fun time. Subscribe, ring the bell, all the good stuff. And as always, have a good day. Have a good life. We'll see you next time.